Let me tell you a truth that weak men refuse to hear. It is better to be feared than to be loved, not because cruelty is noble, but because fear lasts. Love is a fragile emotion, warm, soft, and easily broken. People love you when you serve them. They love you when you bleed for them. But the moment your usefulness fades, so does their affection. Now, fear, that is different. Fear is sharp. Fear is remembered. Fear lodges itself into the minds of men like a blade pressed at the throat. The loved man is respected until he makes one mistake. The feared man is respected even after he makes 10, because fear doesn't beg for forgiveness, it demands caution. Look at history. The rulers who were loved, Caesar, Louis XVI, Gorbachev. They were adored, but eventually betrayed. They were soft, generous, pleasing, and they were overthrown, decapitated, forgotten. But those who were feared, they etched themselves into the spine of history, not because they were kind, but because they were unforgettable. You want to be powerful? Then stop trying to be liked. Stop trying to please. Stop apologizing for making decisions that others are too weak to make. Let them hate you, but let them never forget what you're capable of. Let your presence feel like a loaded weapon, even in silence. Now, I do not tell you to be cruel for pleasure. That is the folly of tyrants. True fear is not chaos. True fear is control. You want your enemies to whisper your name in private with trembling lips. You want your friends to admire you, but always at a distance. You want even those closest to you to wonder, what will he do if I cross him? That doubt, that hesitation, that is your shield, that is your sword, that is your power. The feared man does not raise his voice. It doesn't need to. His silence is louder than screams. His stare cuts deeper than words. And his punishment, when it comes, is swift, decisive, final. Be feared not because you harm. Be feared because you could. A dog barks when it's afraid. A lion does not. Be the lion. And if you must choose, always choose fear over love, because love fades, fear lingers. Remember, the man who is loved may inspire loyalty in times of peace, but the man who is feared, he commands loyalty in times of war. The world is not fair. People do not play by the rules they pretend to believe in. So why should you let them judge your methods? Let them gossip about your ruthlessness. Let them call you cold. They will still obey, because deep down, people trust fear more than kindness. They may smile at the nice man, but they obey the one they're afraid to disappoint. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. And once you accept it, once you step into that shadow, you will no longer seek validation from sheep. You will command respect from wolves. They will tell you mercy is noble. They will tell you kindness wins hearts. But I tell you this, mercy is a luxury for the powerful and a death sentence for the rising. The man who shows mercy too soon is the man whose neck will wear the chain, because mercy, when given freely, is interpreted not as goodness but as weakness. What does the world do to a kind ruler? It eats him alive. The masses pretend to value virtue, but deep in their souls, they follow strength. They do not rally behind the most moral. They rally behind the most dominant. And if you wish to rule, if you wish to rise, you must learn to weaponize perception. Let them believe you are capable of anything. Let your silence provoke fear. Let your mercy be rare and, when granted, feel like a king's blessing, not a slave's offering. The trick is not to be cruel. The trick is to appear capable of cruelty. The trick is to never let them predict your reaction. Uncertainty is fear's twin brother. When your enemies cannot read you, they do not sleep well. When your allies cannot predict you, they do not betray easily. The unpredictable man is dangerous, and the dangerous man is respected even when he is hated. Let me give you an example. A ruler punishes a disloyal general. He executes him in public. Harsh, yes, but suddenly the rest of the court straightens their backs. They don't plot. They don't whisper because now they understand betrayal has a price. Fear is not about causing pain. Fear is about what people believe you might do. Once you are feared, your very presence becomes a warning. You can sit in silence and men will sweat. You can smile and they will wonder if it's real. You can forgive, but only after they've begged. And when you punish, do it without hesitation. No threats, no speeches, no second chances, swift, sharp, final. It sends a message. This is a man who acts. This is a man who is not ruled by emotion. This is a man who commands. Now, some will say, but Machiavelli, fear breeds hatred. Yes, it can, but hatred is manageable. Disrespect is not. The man who is loved but not feared invites betrayal with a smile. But the man who is feared, even by those who hate him, is never underestimated. Understand this. The world is full of manipulators, smiling assassins, backstabbers in silk robes. To survive among them, you must be the shadow they dare not touch. To rise above them, you must make your reputation an armor no blade can pierce. Let them know you can destroy them, then don't. That is real power. When you hold the sword but choose not to swing it. They call you wise, but they remember the sword. Never show fear, never beg, never explain yourself to those beneath your ambition. Let them be confused, let them be afraid, let them wonder why you're so calm. That calmness, it's the silence before storm. It's the stillness of a man who knows exactly what he's capable of. If they know you can ruin them with a word, if they've seen what happens to those who cross you, they will never test you. Fear protects. Fear builds walls where kindness builds doors. Fear enforces silence where compassion invites noise. And when you walk into a room, those who once underestimated you will fall silent. Not because they love you, but because they know what you are. And what are you? You're not their friend. You're not their therapist. You're not their savior. You are a force, a storm behind a calm face, an empire wearing a smile. Be feared, not because you hurt people, but because you could, and they know it. They say it is better to be loved than feared. That is a lie told by the weak, by those who crave approval more than power, by those who want to be admired while they're being devoured. I, Niccolo Machiavelli, tell you the truth. If you must choose, always choose to be feared. Love is an emotion, volatile, conditional, and fragile. It shifts with the winds of opinion. It disappears the moment you fail to meet someone's expectations. But fear endures. Fear leaves a scar on the memory. It becomes instinct. A man may stop loving you, but he will never stop fearing what you might do. And in the arena of power, that is worth more than all the love in the world. You see, people will betray the one they love, but rarely will they betray the one they fear, because betrayal requires courage, and fear kills courage before it can take its first breath. I do not say be cruel. I say be capable of cruelty. Let your name carry weight. Let it enter the room before you do. Let them whisper. He doesn't speak much, but when he acts, it's final. That is power. The man who is feared does not chase respect. He commands it. He does not raise his voice because he doesn't need to. His presence alone is enough to shift the atmosphere. People adjust themselves when he walks in, not because they admire him, but because he's unpredictable. And unpredictability creates tension, and tension, my friend, is control. Do you want to be liked? Go entertain children. Do you want to be respected? Be a ghost in the mind of your enemies. Be the nightmare they hope to never wake up in. Now listen carefully. Do not confuse fear with chaos. The feared man is not a madman. He is calm, silent, controlled. The feared man does not throw tantrums. He gives warnings once. Then if disrespected, he delivers punishment with precision. Not loudly, not emotionally, but efficiently. People will hate a feared man, yes, but hatred is passive. When mixed with fear, they won't act on it. They'll gossip in shadows. They'll fantasize about rebellion, but they'll do nothing. Why? Because fear paralyzes fantasy. It makes the dream of rising up feel like a suicide wish. And this is how the feared man wins. Not by shouting, not by pleading, but by standing alone while others form alliances out of desperation. The man who is loved is vulnerable. He is a servant to opinion. He is constantly trying to keep his admirers happy. He censors himself. He compromises. But the man who is feared, he does not ask for permission. He makes decisions. He does not explain. He acts. And while others hesitate, afraid to offend, he cuts through noise with the silence of authority. Let the world call you cold. Let them say you lack compassion. Let them accuse you of being heartless. Because while they throw words, you are building an empire. Because while they beg for likes, you are commanding loyalty through presence alone. And when the time comes, when chaos knocks at the door, they won't call the one they love. They will look for the one they fear. Because deep down, they know only the feared can control the storm. So here is your choice. Be loved and forgotten, or be feared and remembered. Be agreeable and weak, or be silent and dangerous. Be the man they cry for, or the man they never dare to cross. The world does not reward goodness. It rewards strength disguised as mystery and power wrapped in silence. You want to be free? Be feared. To be feared is not just about action. It's about aura. Fear is not always loud. Sometimes it's silent, haunting, lingering. The truly powerful do not need to show their strength every day. They only need to make the world believe they could. What makes a man feared? It is not the sword in his hand. It is the suspicion that he might use it, without mercy, without warning. You must build the myth. You must become the figure people imagine in the dark. The one who never flinches, never begs, never loses control. The man who, if betrayed, does not rant. He erases. If you want to control the room, you don't need to shout. You need to be the one no one wants to anger. The one whose silence feels more dangerous than anyone else's threat. Fear is not about chaos. It is a controlled, calculated coldness. It is the art of restraint while still being capable of total devastation. When they see you, let them wonder, what is he thinking? Is he planning something? Will he strike back? Let their minds do the work for you. The man who is feared doesn't attack often, but when he does, he makes sure it's unforgettable. A feared man is a strategist, not a reactor. He chooses his moments. He studies weakness. He knows that one well-placed move is worth more than 100 outbursts. And that's the mistake of emotional men. They confuse anger with fear. They rage, they scream, they make a scene, but fear isn't noise. Fear is a reputation. Fear is a legend carefully crafted through mystery, discipline, and brutality when necessary. Let me make this clear. You don't need to be cruel to be feared, only dangerous. Not dangerous to everyone, just to the wrong person. Let them know if they cross a line, there's no negotiation, there's no second chance. One mistake, one betrayal, one disrespect, and you cut them out like a cancer. No words, no closure, just silence and consequences. That is how fear is born. Fear thrives on unpredictability. If they always know how you'll respond, they can manipulate you. They can test your limits. They can push boundaries. But if your silence might mean a storm, if your smile hides a sword, then they proceed with caution. They think twice before lying to you. They hesitate before speaking behind your back. They adjust their tone, their behavior, their plans, not because they love you, but because they're afraid to lose control. And that, right there, is the prize: control. The world doesn't belong to the kind. It doesn't belong to the polite. It belongs to the few who have mastered their own emotions and learned how to master everyone else's through fear. So be the myth, be the shadow they can't quite define. Don't reveal your next move. Don't defend yourself against every accusation. Don't try to prove your innocence to those who doubt you. Let them wonder. Let your unpredictability protect you. Let your silence become tension. Let your calm become suspicion. Because in a world full of desperate people begging to be liked, the man who is feared is untouchable. Let us conclude this truth with the most brutal lesson of all. Kindness is forgettable. Fear is permanent. You may spend your whole life being helpful, generous, respectful, and people will forget at the moment they no longer need you. But the moment you instill fear, true fear, you become a fixed presence in their mind. Fear creates memory. Fear leaves a scar. They may not love you, they may not invite you, but they won't ignore you. Now ask yourself, what do you want more? To be loved for a season or remembered forever. Machiavelli wrote it plainly. It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose. Because love is optional, fear is non-negotiable. Love depends on others. Feelings, changeable, weak, emotional. Fear is built on your action, your dominance, your unpredictability. Love makes them feel safe. Fear makes them respect your space. And in a world of betrayal, manipulation, and masks, respect is worth more than affection. Don't be the nice man who is easy to approach, easy to ask, easy to use. Be the one they hesitate to bother, the one they think twice before challenging, the one they say he doesn't speak much, but when he does, it changes everything. Fear creates power at a distance. You don't need to be present to be considered. Your name enters rooms before you do. That is control. Do not let weak minds guilt trip you into softening your edge. They will tell you that being feared is lonely, that it's cruel, that it's toxic. No, what's toxic is being the man who bends until he breaks. What's cruel is giving everything and receiving nothing. What's lonely is realizing the people who loved you only stuck around because you were easy. Fear filters out the parasites. Those who stay around a feared man respect him. Those who walk away were never worth keeping. You must become the storm they prepare for, not the sunshine they exploit. That doesn't mean you must be violent. It means you must be capable of it. It doesn't mean you must harm. It means others must believe you could. Control perception and you control outcomes. Now listen carefully. In a modern world, fear isn't always physical. It's psychological, it's social, it's digital. It's your ability to walk away without emotion. It's your refusal to explain. It's your lack of desperation. That is power. Fear is the quiet confidence of a man who knows no one owns him. No boss, no lover, no friend. Not one person holds leverage over him because he has trained his mind to need nothing, to expect nothing, to detach without pain. When you get there, you'll feel it, the shift. People will stop playing games with you. They will choose their words carefully. They will start calling you intense, distant, mysterious, because they can no longer predict you. Good. Keep it that way. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Let them fear what they don't understand, because that fear will protect you more than any loyalty ever could. And remember this. Those who are feared move the world. Those who are liked get moved by.